Hey guys, so today is all about debut novels that I read in 2020. So I didn't read as much. I read 7 that I'm counting, and this book had 2020 release and a few had 2019 reviews, but I'm 19 review, but they were like towards the end of the year. So I'm gonna count them because they were debut novels. So I'm gonna be going to the shelf, going on each row and show you and give you a brief review, because a lot of them already did a full review, so I will link them in the description. But I will just basically give you my takeaway from what I read, especially since some of these books I read early in the year, to see, you know, do I still feel the same way? We'll see. So I'm gonna start over here, and on this shelf is one, which is a debut novel. These Ghosts Are Family. It was released back, I think, in March, and it had a buzz. It had a buzz around it, and it was extremely hyped, so I expected so much from it because of that, and it was it didn't disappoint. I found it very interesting, and it was one of those reviews that I felt very strong about, because some people weren't dealing with the authentic. They didn't appreciate that this was authentic Caribbean story. This was an authentic Jamaican story, so the dialogue is going to have that, and I really appreciate that she did that. This is one of those stories where some of the characters you like, some of the characters you can't stand, especially the main character, who happens to be the man who faked his death, took the identity of someone else's life, and had his family thinking he was dead, including, you know, the woman he was with and the kids, his kids, and now old, and he wants to unleash all of that on to them. And you just imagine. So you learn about what happened after he left, and how these family members coped, and things that happened, and the present. So very interesting. Had some folktale in there. Had some interesting twists of events that happen in certain people's life. There is religious talks in this. There's things that are something that you will expect from somebody growing up in Jamaica. So it was very authentic, and I appreciate that she did this with the story. So I'll link the review that I did, so you can, you know. So we got one down. Alright, second shelf, nothing on this shelf. Here we go. Second book, Such a Fun Age. This one, another one that came out early in the year, and it was hyped everywhere. It was a lot. And I didn't pick this up until close to the summer, and that's because it was on the Man Booker long list. And because it got on the long list, I was like, you know, let's see what it's about. I wasn't thrilled, but it was still interested. It's one of those stories that you know, there was a bit of an agenda there that I thought was interesting. But it deals with race. It deals with complicated finding yourself situation with a young girl who is a babysitter for a white family, and she's caught in the middle of a mess. And it just herself is in within the mess, is like how she getting out of it. What I liked about this, which I can say, is in a lot of cases where you have books like this, there's no resolution, or you're looking for something that will make it worth, you know, reading. And I find that this one had it. At the end, you get a bit of understanding character, and you feel like she learned something. You feel like she is growing and evolving, and I can appreciate this book for that. I wasn't blown away, but I do feel like I do like the message that was sent towards the end of this. Watch my review on this so you get a better understanding for those who were struggling with this, because I know this book had mixed feelings for a lot of people. But yeah. That's 2. All right. Nope. Nope, those are all romance. All right. We have 2 down here, so that's going to be 4. All right, these are 2 books that was on the Man Booker. And this one was a dystopia that deals with mother and daughter relationship. And you get an idea of how what's the story really about. It does push that environmental agenda, because in this dystopia world, things are not good in terms of, you know, the food, animals, things that were once there no longer there, how people are eating and surviving, and how the pollution in the environment is causing illness and all that. So they have some environmental push in this, but it is a story about mother and daughter relationship and how complicated it was in this. And a lot of it has to do with also with memory and interpretation of certain things that happen. But you have to read the book all the way to the end to really get the story. And when you get the story, I think it was amazing how the author was able to do that. So it's one that people kind of skipped over because it was so different from the other 5 on the list, and that was unfortunate, but I did enjoy it. And then you guys know how much I love this, and this was a winner of this year Man Booker, and he came out swinging, and I absolutely love this. This is a raw, realistic take on a mother who is an alcoholic and her son who's young and is trying to do everything possible to help his mother, to make his mother happy, to save her. And you see the love that he has for his mother. And you also have this bit of sympathy for the mother as she's fighting a disease that she can't control, that she is really struggling. And I did a full review on this. Definitely will link it. But when it won, I was very excited because it was just worth the win. I think it was there's all this talk because the list was very diverse, but if we're going to talk about the stories, because I read all 6 books, and there's 2 books. The other book I will show you in a minute, because it was a debut as well, was by African American, and then this one was by a white guy. Now, I think in terms of the storyline, this was the best. It just was. And it's unfortunate that people assume it should be about diversity in the book and not what the best 6 books were. And you kind of have to go with the best. And I read them all. And if I'm telling you it was worth it, it won. There was no surprise. It won. And I did talk about why I feel like this should win. And the other book, I was just going to be just excited for the other book. But, sorry guys. The best book won. Alright. The other book that I would have been happy if this won was Real Life. Now, I do get why this didn't win as much, because this is a very, I would say this book is very creative in how it deals with certain topics. And some people can't handle this. And some people really didn't get the story. I've had people make comments who told me after they saw my review, they got the story, but didn't get the story while they were reading this. And this is one that you have to really get into it to get to the root of how the character was behaving and what was really going on mentally with that character. This book has a lot of trauma involved in terms of generational trauma, which I spoke about. And you can see how the character behaved and what is how the character is learning to cope, because it is a story that deals with mourning, and a lot of people don't mourn the same way. We don't all deal with conflict the same way. And this was a story that told of a character who was dealing with that, and how complicated it was in his life. He's young, he's in college, he's a black man amongst majority white kids at his university. And there are a few people who do understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, when you are so used to not feeling a certain way, you don't get to see that other people are there. And this is where you get that in this story. it was done well. If this had won, I would have been just as happy as I was with Sugar Bane. But I understand why this wasn't a favorite for some people. But for me, I loved it. It was a 5-star read for me, and any of those book won, you know, I would have been thrilled. All right. So I got 2 more. All right. Why are you not staying there? There you go. So over here. So if you guys don't know, a lot of these books, except for 2 of the books, were my what the hell books that I put on this shelf over here. So you probably can't see it that well, but this is why this one is over there, because this is what the hell book that needs to be on that shelf. Luster. Guys, a mental illness book, that's pretty much what it's about, that was just too much. It was too much. I get the story. I was able to get the idea of what was the intention of the author, but at the same time, it was too much. It was over the top. Like, let's throw in as much madness as we can in this story, and it was just ugly, and nothing was nice about this book, and so it was just, it didn't work for me. It just didn't work for me. I wasn't the audience. I wasn't the target audience. I don't know who the hell was, but it wasn't me. And that's the best way I can sum up how, I felt about this. Alright, let's see if I can get this book out, the last book, without dropping anything. It's the last book. Yeah, it's the last book. Alright, so this one is the last. This was Trini. This is another authentic Caribbean book. So if you want to imagine Trinidadian life, this was it. The dialogue, the custom, everything. This was authentic. But let me tell you, we got 3 characters in this, and I couldn't stand one of the characters. It was like every time that character came, I'm like, Lord, here we go. Lord, let me hurry up and read them pages so I can get through the other 2 characters that I like. This one really was an interesting story, and you know, a mother, son, and this man who played such a great role in this book, and each of their stories, and it was so good. It was just, I was really enjoying it, although, you know, that one character pissed me off. But if you're looking for a story that's really gonna take you there, and you know, another version of how someone can be important in your life that's not family, and growing pains and struggle of a mother, pick this up. So where we at with those 7. Yeah. So also there's an honorary mention because it was a debut novel, though it came out many years ago before I was born, and that is Go Tell It on the Mountain. I read James Baldwin's debut novel, and I was like, this is what he came out with? No telling that he was going to be great, because this was amazing. This was like that coming to age with the boy, his family, drama, everything, but the writing. This was his debut, guys, and his writing, yes. If you haven't read James Baldwin's debut novel, please do. Pick it up. Pick it up. It was worth it. Love it. So, I'm going to end this here, guys. Hope you had a mini tour of the books. I've never done like a full-on book, tour of this bookshelf, because I have several bookshelves, guys. I know you guys seen a few. I have one in my bedroom. I have one in these closets, mostly old books, and I never done like a full bookshelf thing, so maybe next year I might do one, because it'll be easier, because it's probably going to take a while to film like the entire bookshelf, so we'll see. But this was kind of fun, so I'm going to end this here. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.